Hello, everybody. I'm Rajesh Jacob. I'm a physical therapist working in Canada. I would like to share my thoughts with you with regards to why you should consider starting a cash based physical therapy practice. The content may be more relevant to a Canadian practice, so just a piece of warning for those of you who are watching from the United States. If you are a good therapist, you should be expensive. I wanted to introduce the concept of the value agenda, where in a business concept, there is a shift of focus from volume of services delivered and profitability towards the actual patient outcomes achieved. So, what that means is the focus is not much on the volume or the number of patients that you have seen in a day, but it's measured on what's the outcome that the patient has achieved. And the philosophy is you might have seen lesser number of patients, but because the outcomes are better, the amount that is invoiced to the patient would be higher because there could be better results, and that brings increased profitability. So the profit is increased because of increased value, not just because you've seen more number of patients. High volume keeps you busy for sure, but quality makes you efficient. It brings improved patient outcomes, patient satisfaction, and eventually the gross dollar production also increases. I would encourage the physical therapist listening to me to attempt to educate the patient regarding achieving probably better outcomes with fewer visits. It may be more expensive on a per visit basis, but the added convenience of not having to keep coming frequently, it comes with a price. And I'm pretty sure patients who are just as busy as the practitioner would prefer to come for less number of visits. Also, help the patients to realize their own potential to play an active role in recovery. They would appreciate it because if they know what needs to be done at home, and if there is any self measure that they could take, they would not need to come running to you. And they'll appreciate that, give you more referrals, and the name of your practice will spread by word of mouth. Another important thing to consider is who determines the value of your practice? Is it the insurance company or the outcomes that you deliver? Don't be shy to market yourself to the patient. The patient is your key partner in your practice. By marketing yourself to the patient, you're not blowing your own trumpet. You're just informing them how you can benefit them the most. They'll appreciate it. At least they're informed. At the end, always assure them that they are the ones who chooses. Have you ever thought why over the counter medications are most often not covered by insurance plans? The answer is simple. It is easily accessible, very highly utilized, and often the most effective first line of therapy. It does not mean you don't need it or should not consider paying for it. So, if that's the case, why should you be apprehensive in accessing physical therapy services, whether your insurance company pays for it completely or not? Who does your patient come to see? Does the patient come to see you in particular, or are they just coming to that place which their doctor asked to come and check out? A few things to consider. Are you offering the best a physical therapist has to offer? Or are you just another healthcare personnel the patient meets in his or her journey before they end up back with the referral source? Does your patient see you as a valuable resource and partner in their informed decision making process? Do they ever reach out to you informing you regarding the outcome of the decision they made with your help? Or do they disappear from your office after 10 to 15 visits and you see them next only if their primary care physician refers them back to you? Have you ever made a self evaluation of yourself and what is the value of your services? Are you selling your services at its value or is someone else determining your value and its price? Something else that you have to think about is for all the hard work that you do, who reaps the profit? Is it your employer? Or is it the insurance company that decides how much is to be paid for your services? Or is it you? I would also want to share this thought about the credential creep. Now, at the end, if the consumer does not see value in your services, the present standards of higher education, especially um, educational degrees like entry level doctorates and post professional doctorates, it will be soon seen as a credential creep or a degree inflation, which, in other words, it just means that you don't need a degree as high as a doctoral degree for what you do. Can you imagine a patient comes to an office, sees a physical therapist, and the physical therapist introduces himself or herself as so and so having a doctoral degree, and all what the patient gets is a heating pad and TENS? What thoughts will the patient have if when they're leaving the clinic? It's true, probably it's only modalities that they could be given because their insurance covered only $25 a visit. So for what was covered and for what the patient was willing to pay, um, something as easy as that was provided. But however, at the end of the day, the patient leaves the office wondering, why did this physical therapist need a doctoral degree to give me hot pack and TENS? A study conducted by Brown et al. In Canada mentions that there are limited outcomes that differentiates masters and doctorally prepared graduates. It also questions the readiness and the capability of institutions to deliver quality fieldwork and experiential components. Possible risk of creating a bifurcated workforce is there, which means you have a group of practitioners who have a bachelor's and a master's degree versus another group who are doctorally qualified. This creates a scenario where there is a potential to create a dissonance between the educational preparation the clinician has undergone and the actual practice realities. So, patients who see practitioners who has the same title but different degrees might be a bit confused as to what the difference is, and at the same time they see similar services and possibly the outcome is the same too. In this scenario, when there is this much disparity in education, and in a scenario where the patients could be confused a bit, it's all the more necessary to provide the patient, who is the end consumer, with the most satisfactory outcomes. And the risk that you need to take here is you need to explain to the patient as to why extra time is required why extra payment is required, and the quality of the service that you will provide with the intent to bring the best outcome in the best interest of the patient. Now, how motivated are you to assess your own potential? Do you feel you're ready to go out on your own? Or at least, are you willing to give it a try? Please copy and paste this link to your browser to take a self assessment questionnaire on your motivation. Each person's motivation level can be different, and that can determine your achievement. So, the link below provides you with a tool, and at the end of taking the questionnaire, you get a numerical score, which gives you a guidance as to where you stand, what the weaknesses are, how you can improve, and possibly the very next step that you could take. Here are my references. Thank you, and all the best to everybody.